Are y'all ready for a poetry slam? Y'all not ready for the poetry slam? I said y'all ready for a poetry slam? The prizes. First place will receive $500 and an opportunity to film an original piece in front of a Moca exhibit and be featured on the Moca page. And second place is $100. So, listen, don't be nice. I love it already. But a sacrificial poet was asked for by the competitors before we get started because none of them want to be technically the first one on the mic. So I decided that I'll do it. I'll just do it. I love how I have nothing out like I'm memorized. I'm not. At all. I need this technology. Okay, so I heard a lot of saying. We're going to put this on Do Not Disturb. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Ain't nobody ready for me to stay. My body has done all it can to hold me together. To expand with all this internal pressure. That's why I got stretch marks from head to toe. My body's way of trying to accommodate. All this extra I take in. All this excess love. All this excess anxiety. All the excess whys and whos and what ifs and tears. All the Carloses, Rickies, and Jose's I've tried to hold on to till my fingers cramped. Blood will fall by the wayside. My body got stretch marks like battle scars, like memorials. Like this one here was where I had to stretch and hold my stepfather's trauma like a reverse nesting doll. Just bigger and bigger containers till I take up so much space I hyperventilate from the heights I'm scared of. How am I trying to be a healer with all this pain in me? I try to become smoke. Something that can escape this flesh, but I keep being held back by bone and sinew, by hugs and kisses, by affirmations and a push to keep going, but it hurts to stretch this much. And I don't know how much more I can hold till I explode. Just a big bang on the west side. You only ever hear the news of did you know, and we never noticed all this expansion like a development plan for my flesh. And I'm just trying to stay alive long enough for the ribbon cutting, so I'm cutting ties, I'm purging, I'm cleaning house, trying to let go of everything that was never mine to hold. My body got stretch marks like the lines of a pyramid, holding each brick in place, a jewel at the crown, a place closer to heaven. First up to the mic, and put your hands together, please, until they make it to the stage. Give it up for Artistic Genius.
I promise I'm not a serial lover. I've just ended up with a series of lovers who became sketches in my storyboards, depictions of women who were around for the scripting outline of my movie but didn't make it past the credits. What a closer, closure, how cinematic an ending of what I thought would be a classic to be replayed over and over like Love Jones. I want to love like Darius and Nina. Without the cigarettes, cue more poetry and photography to replace the toxicity. Still in all black because black women are the essence of beauty cut. I want a love that sets my soul on fire and lies in the bed of ashes with me. I want a love like a watered flower, the kind that grows above the soil where the sun is raised by roots and the petals are paternal to the sky's glory. I want a love that is aware of my trauma but doesn't think I'm broken because of it. I want a love that sees beyond my soul's gated community into my heart's home where my true self is, a safe space where the armor is left at the door. I want a love that prays with me and not just on Sunday mornings, but this love a beacon of hopeful reasons to keep on loving through all the seasons that don't feel warm or nostalgic. I want a love that embodies this poem because I believe that love exists. No matter how many reasons I'm given to believe different, because love is where we start and where we end. I believe that love is somewhere soft like sugar scrub lips, and forgiving like gifts, for giving like gifts. Real love is authentic. It's an original poem like this. It has tiger stripes to indicate the strength it takes to prevail. Stretch me beyond my normal capacity. A love like gravity. Leave your mark on me because I want to grow more than I want to be right. I want a love that speaks through me like God. An uncomfortable feeling but an undeniable outcome. You can feel it but you can't explain it. You can hide from it but you can't resist it. Now tell me, am I being unrealistic? Am I pretty much delusional to think that I can actually manifest this? The answer is yes. I believe in the power in my voice, i.e. this stage performance. Whatever I speak already is written. Woo!
Keep it going one more time for Artistic Genius. And keep that energy up for your next poet. Give it up for Rose.
Before you decide to love me, you should know that my heart is homegrown, but more prone to pests because I am that organic. I don't mean to be pessimistic, but my light is so aggressive, even a blind person can see me. You should know that I'm actually goofy for real. I like to laugh. So before we have sex, I'm probably gonna sing into your dick because dicks look like microphones to me. You should know. I think insurance is a funny word. It sounds a lot like reassurance, which is something that I might need. I like to laugh. So before we have sex, I'm probably gonna sing into your dick because dicks look like microphones to me. You should know. I like to laugh. It's a craft that I take very seriously. Even when I cry, I laugh. So sometimes you won't be able to tell what I'm feeling. Funny thing about it is neither do I. I like to write, but I don't communicate well. Everything is a joke to me whenever I can't communicate well, like how your body looks more like a weapon than it does a microphone, and I'm afraid it might hurt me, or that you might hurt me. Turning weapons into opportunities of expression is the only way I know how to take any pain. I mean, make any pain worth taking. I train my pain to be beautiful, like childbirth, like a mother sacrificing her body to be broken open just so a newborn baby can open his eyes. I keep tissues under my pillow because I cry myself to sleep. I don't believe it's depression. I just call it my detox routine. I want to let you know that before you love me, I have synesthesia. So when my heart breaks, I taste blood. When I see certain things, I hear children screaming. I feel things very deeply. I get overwhelmed a lot. And I know that you admire me so much because I have so much depth, but that's only because most of the time I'm pondering about death. I wear my heart on my sleeve. It's my favorite fashion statement. I'm not an open book, but I'm a very easy read. So when people ask me how I'm doing, I tell them I'm good, but they can tell that I'm lying. You should know that I am not a good liar. Lies scare me more than suicide, so I decided to write an honest poem. To make up for every lie I ever told myself, I decided to write an honest poem about how I'm afraid to love or someone to love me, because you might tell me that you love me, but my anxiety won't believe you. You should know that I'm a grenade. I'm always quietly suppressing a parade of pessimism because I don't want to hurt anybody. Before you love me, you should know I secretly want to blow this bitch up the moment I get a chance to say what's on my heart, because it's the only way I know how to feel seen. I was bullied a lot, so I have a problem with not being seen. I got footprints for scars because I used to be a rug. Now I just shrug my shoulders whenever it's my turn to step. You should know. Yeah. I have an active imagination. I make up scenarios in my head that aren't real because I'm afraid of what's real might be too good to be real. So I sabotage without knowing and don't realize it until after I fucked it up. Before you decide to love me, you should know I might fuck this up. I like to structure this poem. Yeah.
With a vote of 2-1, we are advancing Rose to the next.
Give it up for both poets, please. And we're going to keep that energy rolling for our next poet. Please give it up for Arrie Lane.
Black girl enters the room. Hair freshly picked into this fly-ass afro. Enters you, astounded. Wondering where her braids went, and in your amazement, you muster up the gall and touch it in the ass. How'd you get your hair like that? Black girl pulls back. Bitch, How we be so unicorn and treated so savage. How we be so emulated, then still told to hate ourselves. How we be too strong to ever be weak, like too anomaly to be human. I guess that's that magic. How we just continue to rise up. How we be too Sha'Carri Richardson, too confident, too strong, too proud, too loud. Then they turn around and call us too Simone Biles, like black girls don't need a break. Like they don't expect us to be on every 24/8 without confidence. Newsflash. We just make this issue look easy. We didn't get a choice. It's funny, because they call us loud, but then rob us of our voice. Well, testing, can you hear us now? We are reclaiming our magic, so yes, you can look, but don't touch. When we say we're tired, we're taking our breaks and no longer giving a fuck. We're setting boundaries. Speaking out, we are enunciation antibodies when we feel like it, and both times that's us, because we can. We are being our own magic. We've been everyone else's for too long, and shouldn't we reserve some for ourselves? Black girls been magic, been paradox, been unicorn. Black girl, we done explaining, done worrying about your boxes and your stereotypes, because this might actually be angry, and that's okay. Black girl be magic enough to allow herself the space to be human, to recognize her strength, to take off her cape, to realize she ain't gotta be everything to everybody every single day, all while we remain so insignificant. Black girl be done making herself seem so small when clearly she be so galaxy, so universe done, being so dimly lit room when clearly she be so sunlight, so light. So no, you can't touch her hair. Don't ask her how she got it like that, because she said what she said, and she be me and me be magic. And I said, bitch, I'm magic.
And let's keep the applause rolling for our next poet. Give it up for Zuggie. What could I get to say?
We don't talk about suicide in the hood. We praise the Lord. Scream and holler like we trying to wake the dead. They must not have meant to do it. Acting like he just sleeping. Pretending she ain't choose to be there. And we listen to men preach about God's plans. Them, right there in that casket, had a plan. Found their fastest way out when I was 14. My upstairs neighbor's son committed suicide. My mother says she heard the shot, heard the body drop, heard his spirit fly right by, like he was in a rush. Maybe he was still running. Maybe he had someplace better to be, had to get there faster than a bullet once. I thought about running faster than a passing thought. Once, I heard of a 12-year-old queer child. Heard his name was Nigel. The news reporters say he killed himself. Say his bullies made him do it. They call this a tragedy. They call it an unfortunate act of God. And I remember thinking about this a lot. How lucky I was to have survived all this time. Thought myself blessed for not having been tempted away. However, now, I run from another's hands. Worried some man will make me an early ghost. Send my spirit rushing wild to someplace better, whether he is draped in navy blue or sexual confusion. Either way, church folks will say, I deserved it. Or the devil made him do it. That my death will get covered up in hallelujahs and praise worship. And the preacher will say, God wanted this. And maybe he did. Maybe the man who kills me will be God. Or at least treated like one. Whether him exonerated or my transness being blamed, in any case, I'll be the sinner. And maybe hell has a special place for me. Maybe this will be the first time I ever feel warmth. And that thought scares me to death. That dying could be the only heat I'll have in this life. Whether I choose it where somebody else's chooses for me? What is suicide to a black trans girl? If I'm always considering my own demise, what is existing if I'm always the cause of my death in the hood? We don't talk about how life ain't always worth living. We simply try to live until it is, or until we can't help to keep from dying. Praise the Lord.
Advancing is Zuggie.
Please give it up for both poets, please. And I say it is difficult to get up on stage in front of people and be vulnerable. Our next poet up to the mic, please. Put your hands together for Tiana.
I came here to collect what's mine, and I'm not leaving until I get it. Don't act like you forgot the reason you breathe here today. I kept quiet, watched you build a world with my blood, my essence coursing through the people's veins. See, without me, this shit wouldn't exist. Your peace came at the expense of my innocence, and I want my blood back. I don't want an apology. I want a body, a gun, aimed at your temple. This is not a murder, nor a crucifixion. This is retribution. I drained out the ocean of tears that watered the crops you fed your disciples with. See, this feast is now over. I'm starving from the fruits of my labor, letting my joy serve as your famine. Don't tell me I'm irrational. How could I be? I was a child. A girl who only ever wanted to love and be loved, live in a golden community where I was accepted, but I got fooled by a false Midas. Your touch grew spores in my brain, rotted me from the head down, and I'm here to eliminate the source. You're a coward. But I see why you're so scared. You expected me to be smaller, expected my voice to be so low it sunk under yours. After all these years, you linger with the scent of my past. Prayed I never smelled the bullshit you spewed, so you built an army to keep me obedient. Placed traps inside people I thought were friends. I'll be damned if I let you get the satisfaction of seeing me defeated. Your reign has no place here anymore. I'm burning all of this down. For every child you broke in your hands, the voices you snuffed out, and every artist that suffered in your shadow. Your ashes will be our reparations. Poem.
Stay there. Give it up one more time for Tiana. And make some noise for your next poet up to the mic. Make some noise for Stacey.
Now, I don't usually write footboard poems, but if I did, this is probably what it would sound like. This isn't a man-hating poem, this is a fuckboy eulogy. The final chapter of a man full of negative energy. Y'all know the type. The type to text you, what you doing all day? And he'll get upset because you won't let him crawl in your bed at night. The type to turn any simple conversation into a whole damn fight. The type to be comfortable with making you uncomfortable and he doesn't think twice. The type to claim he's a 10, but in the last 9 days he made you cry 8 different times. He says he's busy 7 days a week, but gives you 6 different excuses. This is day 5 of you staying up till 4 in the morning thinking about him. Do you know that he's talking to 3 other girls, but you blocked that thought out because you love him too much to accept the fact that he's just not the one? So to the fuckboy that tried to turn me down, this is for you. I hope when you try to speak, your lips are sealed with super glue. I hope the walls you punch you back. I hope the train you take falls off his tracks. I hope you get fucked over by all the girls that you bent over. May you struggle with solitude and lose every time. May you sit with discomfort in every room that you find. Now I know you're probably saying that I'm overreacting, but actually I'm just having reactions to all the shit you put me through.
You see, I've been standing still, practicing understanding. Submissively staying seated, heated, yet feeling treated like, hello? Can't you see I'm falling into pieces? Because you omitted things you could have just admitted to. Why did you even hit me up if you didn't want to be committed to? And my intuitions, they never lie. But my curiosity has betrayed me while revealing how you portray me to be crazy and how you can sway me to believe that I'm always overthinking. And by the time I know it, you're on my side sitting back watching while I'm sinking. Dear men, I promise I'm not here to tear you down or tarnish your crowns, but some of y'all keep some fucked up people around. So tell me, would you still play stupid if this happened to you? Like if someone you loved felt unsafe by someone you knew? Imagine getting your heart broken, then finding out they collect and store them like tokens. A faulty connection, causing static within communication. Therefore, the call for understanding drops. The dial tone fades in and out. Everyone's fucking blocked. I've tried to cry and converse about it, but I just end up feeling even worse about it because your adverse expression shuts me down before your words can escape and do the same. But, like I said, I usually don't write fuckboy poems, but if I did, this is what it will sound like.
So we're going 2-1. Stacey will report.
Give it up for my opponents, please. Congratulations, Stacey. And let's keep it moving for our last pair. Clap it up next for Sancoco. Clap it up to stage, please.
My name is Centuri. Not Centuri, Centura, Sally, just Centuri. No matter how many times I correct you, you've chosen your own linguistic comfort over my identity because anything that deviates outside of your limited vocabulary makes you uncomfortable. So, I let you continue to dehumanize me to preserve your comfortability, to silence that hide my agitation of ostracization that has caused this genocide of generations in the form of assimilation with sandwiches for lunch instead of biryani. Celebrations for Christmas instead of Diwali, changing our names to Mali, speaking English instead of Bengali, all to embody the characteristics of the colonizers who see us as invaders of the land and people they stole.
You better talk about it.
And despite this genocide of generations that silently wipes out civilizations until all that's left is propaganda taught in our history, I've been told not to speak up and correct others because maybe then I'd be seen as an equal deserving of respect. Instead, I've been reduced to being lesser than a dog whose name gives them humanity, but strips mine of my sanity when being told I should become Sally if I ever want to be happy. I don't ever want to be content with being misidentified or forcefully consume cyanide in the name of peace to abolish all that makes you uncomfortable. So listen to me when I tell you my name is Centuri. Not Centuri, Centura, Sally. Just Centuri. Thank you.
And keep putting your hands together for our last poet in round one. Make some noise for Odum Marie.
If I ruled the world,
Imagine that.
I'd free my sisters. Sisters who look like me. Free them from the shackles of being the strong one. Let them know that though strength is beautiful, it is not your job to be strong every damn day. I push off every man, every white woman off her back so they can no longer ride my sister's coattails. She is not your savior, Becky or Jerome. She is human. If I ruled the world, I'd free my sisters. Free them from shame. The shame of being relatively close to a man who lays her on her back, opens her room each night, and before she can speak up and say no more, she has already birthed a new generation. She has birthed more trauma than any being can handle. They treat her like cattle in a breeding farm, but lie to her and say she is so strong for enduring this pain that you put her through. Telling her she is the GOAT after birthing your dreams and your corrupted legacy, leaving her to raise kids who end up hating her. If I ruled the world, I free my sisters. Free them from themselves. Teach them to love who they are. I mean, everyone else loves her aesthetic. From the coils on her scalp, to the whimsy of her prolonged nails, to the soothing of her vocals, the warmth of her complexion, the art of her shape. Baby, I'd make my sisters the beauty standard. If I ruled the world, I'd simply turn back the time. When my sisters were goddesses, my sisters stood tall on business like Amazons, crowns on tight, heads held high, back straight, never bent, voices powerful, glare so striking, even lightning is scared to touch her. If I ruled the world, I'd free all my sisters. I love you, baby.
What's going on, judges?
All right, for this final matchup in round one, the judges have chosen Sanchari.
Give it up for all the folks who took the stage in round one. I said, give it up for all the folks who took the stage in round one. The first poet up in round two. Please show some love for Zuggie.
Living Earth theory, or a trans woman writes the Earth a letter in solidarity. What if I told you the Earth was alive? Like, no metaphor. That every hurricane, forest fire, flood, or earthquake was the planet actually trying to expel the itch of humanity? What if plate tectonics was cell division? The land then becomes a many-layered skin. The mantle more like bone marrow. The mountains, hills, and valleys, bones. What if the ozone layer was actually a stomach? O3 oxygen molecules literally eating the sun. The oceans, rivers, and lakes, more like blood. The herds of clouds in the sky, more like a Morse code. Communication in the language of planets. What if life were a virus? Have you ever had a whale shit in your water? Or birds flap around in your air? Grass growing on you like a festering fungus? That shit's disgusting. What if the planet was actually like pretty young and hadn't quite hit puberty yet? What if one day she got like real horny and slid into the mini rings of Big Daddy Saturn like, who don't like a gas giant? Get caught up in his eye. Get caught up in his orbit like the apple of someone's eye. What if the first men on the moon didn't see a still life illustration in a 7th grade textbook, but a moving, dynamic body swelling in and out with life? What if the clouds formation into eyes and began staring back? What if our existence was microscopic to something? Maybe humans would humble, learn a global harmony never before seen. Maybe then the earth would accept us as a part of her DNA and not a cancer that needs to be naturally disastered away. Dear Earth, I know what it's like to be taken for granted, to be treated like a wild in need of taming, to never be asked your own name in your true language, polluted with the ill intent of man. But I don't feel sorry for you, Because I don't feel sorry for myself. I know the storm brewing inside of you, the catastrophe waiting at the nape of your neck. I fear the day you show your teeth. Because I know about the day I show mine, the destruction that laid in my wake, the amount of bad blood put to rest on the ground, the closeted bones, finally given enough sun to curse everyone who tried to bury them. One day the meek will inherit you. And maybe then the metaphor of you will become more fact than fiction. Your new children attempting to learn your language, communing with you, instead of continuing to be at cataclysmic odds. This is from your daughter in this universe, your forever child, a trans woman who will never take your grace, gravity, or mercy for granted.
Yes. Audience, check it in. How you feeling? Feeling good? All right, put your hands together starting now for the next poet up to the mic. Give it up for Centurion.
As long as I'm still breathing, you'll always have someone who loves you. And I know that may be hard to believe, given that those who should have loved you the most taught you that love can only be bought and obtained by selling yourself, because unconditional love is only a luxury the privileged can afford. But I want you to know that I'm being sincere when I say you are worthy of being loved without conditions simply for being human. You should not set fire to yourself to keep others warm. You are good enough. You were always good enough. Even though you don't believe so. Even though your parents don't believe so. Even though society doesn't believe so. To me, you were, are, and will always be good enough. Please know that you're not obliged to murder yourself to quench your father's rage. You're not obliged to make your mother happy for staying with a man she was forced to marry. You're not obliged to entertain doctors who solely view you as a case study. The only thing you're obliged to do is to live as your authentic self. And if that causes others to label you as a villain undeserving of love, just know that as long as I'm still breathing, you'll always have someone who loves you. Thank you.
All right, moving forward, we have unanimously decided again, it is Zuggie.
Give it up for both poets again, please. And let's keep things rolling for our next poet. Give it up for Rose.
Ever since I was a little girl, I was always told to smile. That I was too pretty not to smile. And when you're a little girl, the last thing you want to be is not pretty. So I smiled so much. I forgot that emotions didn't have a smile. I smiled until my face felt frozen, as cold as the heart I never wanted to have. I smiled. I smiled until all the broken promises people made to me became cavities in my teeth. My smile had more holes than a history lesson about America. I smiled. My name, Mixed Rose, has 2 X's because I never grieved my grandmothers. I smiled every time my name gets misspelled because I don't want to be difficult, because difficult is ugly and ugly is not pretty, and I'm too pretty to be upset. Even when my ex-boyfriend told me my relationship with God wasn't real, I smiled. Even when he said I should still have sex with him, I smiled. Even when I said no and he pretended not to hear me, I smiled. Even when everyone around me told me I was being childish and I should get over it and I should be his friend because I'm too pretty to not have friends, I smiled. I smile so I can stay pretty, because pretty privilege is real. I smile so I can have some type of privilege, even though it ain't as potent as every other kind of privilege. So when I failed one of my college exams,
asked me if I'd ever been tested for a learning disability. As if anxiety isn't real, stress isn't real, racism isn't real. I mean, my smile isn't real, but I keep smiling because it takes more muscles to not smile. And ain't that draining? More draining than to pretend like you ain't breaking, as if pretty don't hurt, like the most beautiful singers never had a crack in their voice, as if the greatest poets never once struggled to find the right words, like God wasn't satisfied with perfection, so he made everything we hate beautiful, like a man crying, or a woman's lining shedding blood to make room for you and me to breathe, to make room for a scream, to make room for sensory sensations, because our frowns teach us how to smile again whenever you are ready, whenever you validate every other emotion you are feeling, because that smile is something you don't want to force, or else it's going to hurt. So the next person who tells me to smile is going to cost you, because my happy is expensive, and I'll be damned if you ask me to put it on display for free.
And keep putting your hands together for the last poet in round 2. Give it up for Stacey.
I refuse to argue with another woman over a man who is disrespectful enough to put me in the position to argue with another woman over him. However, I am a poet, and I specialize in turning my emotions into words and crafting them into poetry. Because I know some women, even in this room today, who can relate to me. So this is my masterpiece. I may have had him first, but now I'm gonna let you have him for good. Because apparently I have to explain this shit since it's not being understood. Maybe the spot you got is the one you'll always have, labeled the favorite dummy. See, you're a funny little lady to think my eye is something you could ever be. You're a lifelong side piece, forever a secret searching for the attention you needed from your daddy. You wear second place so proudly, gladly accepting your lousy position, soaking up the little time that you're giving you like a dog. Sitting under the kitchen table, mouth watering for whatever scraps you're given. You're like my pet. Yeah. And I say that with all disrespect. See, I don't know if I'll ever be so good at settling for less, but that's a lot to you. To be honest, they probably made number 2 because of you. I mean, they needed something to name the spot that came after the first, hence your existence. And I'm so unimpressed. I had higher expectations, like maybe you would make him leave me. But the only thing he leaves is you, lonely. After he busts on your ass and doesn't give you so much as a hot ride, he still chose to come home to me. I wonder how that makes you feel though. Like, for real, are you cool? Because I don't know what I would do if a dude was making my ass cheeks ashy with his nut stains, but saving my number and his brother's name. Like, he can't even recognize you by your government. And yet, you still get under the covers with him. Now that's crazy to me. And you must think your coochie is so incredible, and that he'll never do to you what he did to me. Well, let's see, because you can have him. Here, take him, and you'll see. He never had any intentions of matrimony with you, only mattress humping with you. There is no promotion for you, boo. And even without number 1, you will always remain number 2.
Okay, we're gonna go with mixed rose. All right.
judges so far. And we want to clap them up and congratulate them for doing the work that they did tonight. But this last round is on y'all. So the first poet up around 3, I forgot which card is which. Let's decide right now. Give it up for Rose.
It's ironic how nothing is everything. Like silence, and how loud it becomes during a crisis, during a war, a genocide, and suffering, and how it feels like we do nothing. It's interesting how much can be written about nothing, like stripping an entire race bare until it's all they have left, and still building a country, a culture, and keeping compassion cradled close to their hearts. No generational wealth, no idea what this DNA is made of or traced back to, no history other than the history lessons my teachers don't like to talk about so much. There are bills trying to be passed to keep the education system from talking about the past. They'd rather just talk about nothing. Maybe this might be a conversation I thrive in. I know what it's like to come from, to feel like where depression is just a joke and being black is just a trend everyone cares about once in a while until it's convenient, until it checks off a diversity requirement for mass corporations or satisfies your boredom during the peak of a global pandemic. Everyone cared about George Floyd. Now the pandemic is over and no one talks about George Floyd. There's a nothingness that settles into a culture after a death. A numbness, an emptiness. God took nothing and created everything, so I'm learning that maybe nothing is where hope is born, and rebellion, and peace, and rage that conceives change, because there is so much power in having nothing. And maybe that explains why black people perceive time so differently, showing up late and leaving early just to make up for all the time we've lost, that our children have lost after their time got cut short. I know what it's like to treasure nothing. To be in the presence of a loved one, exchanging 0 words and that being enough, because having nothing should be enough.
Keep that energy going. For the last poet slam. Give it up for Zuggie.
This poem is for the women who get spoken for, or the reason your portraits of black women don't speak. I ooze my motherland, no matter how much I try to help it. I was named after a river song. Exhale tropical depressions. My laughing is a hurricane. Each chuckle has a name, each syllable a beat. Call me drum, my face is always painted, ready for war. And no matter how many times it's been beat, you gonna have to surrender to this rhythm. A heavy tapping follows me wherever I go. Each step I take aligns with the beat. My hips synchronize with the swing and a switch. My body is a walking ritual and release ancient magic. I could crack my knuckles, but ancestors would fall out. Whenever I speak, they always want a turn, so I've said things only a ghost would. Have spoken with the moon and grown fat off the sun. I am Neptune's wildest dreams. Jupiter's blessings personified a comet speeding towards the event horizon. Many hands have tried to reshape me, but I carry generations on my back. Arrow sharp. I've never met a jungle I couldn't tame into medicine. Never met a rock I couldn't transform into water. I gave birth to myself in a thunderstorm. looking so much like my ancestors who knew so much about me. But nothing of all these changed. See, the patriarchy wanted me to hate myself. Wanted me to be strange fruit ripe with self-hatred when they come to pluck me. That I may go easy. Blind to my own self-worth, but understand, I'm a daughter who learned too quickly to be her own mother. So many mornings spent loving myself out of bed. I am a whale that doesn't ask forgiveness for being large. A supernova that doesn't say sorry for shining too bright. But most importantly, I'm alive. You are all alive, despite all the best efforts to kill you.
We good to go?
I'm not ready yet.
You're not ready? What do you need?
This is very stressful.
It is very stressful. That's what the judges have been feeling all night.
Would y'all like a couple minutes to deliberate?
Yeah.
Okay, what's up?
Not your knee. Be careful, please. What you doing? What you doing? Don't do this. Oh no, not the big screen. Hey, it's one more performance. Okay, silence. Please give it up if you are feeling it for Rose. Okay. All right. Now make some noise if you are feeling it for Zuggie.
All right, so my folks in the corner, was that clear or do we need to do it again? Again?
All right. And silence. Please give it up if you are feeling it for Rose. Oh my God, this feels so good. Like, oh my God. I'm a choir director. If you are feeling it, please give it up for Zuggie.
All right, I hate to make y'all scream one more time. I just downloaded a decibel sound meter. Let's try to make this very quick, okay? All right, let's just get it done. One more time here.
All right. Make some noise for Rose. Make some noise for Zuggie.
Y'all gonna hate me even more. So it's reading. It's reading the same value for both of us. We're gonna have to go to a sudden death.
Oh, okay.
Unless the judges want to make the decision.
We are going to turn it over to the judges per our poets.
The two of you both were amazing poets. Your performance, your content, the people that you are talking to, the person that you are speaking for, both of you are phenomenal.
like the music in like a serial killer's movie, like this is Halloween shit. And he's like, right, you got the knife in hand, hey. Because it's like Michael Myers. He just saying
Okay. Both of you were very beautiful. I love each poem, every last one of them. I even wrote down some little quotes from each one of you guys.
I know that, but you got notes.
Yeah, I did. But Mixed Rose, I feel like you had a lot of emotion, and I appreciate that. I like your content a lot, and it was pushed out. So I'm gonna go with Rose.
Okay. You went through this heartbreaker. Come on. What you feeling? Go with your heart.
I love you both. This is a horror. Both of you have impeccable craftsmanship. Your words are phenomenal. But on this one,